Hey there all my UFS players, it's Josepher, and I'm here to give you a rundown on the top 5 attacks, in my opinion, in the Darkstalkers Warrior of the Night set. Now, overall, I think that this set is really strong. I think the common attacks in the Mega Man set that preceded it were a little bit better, because there are a lot of attacks that you probably just wouldn't play in this set. However, the big attacks in this set, like the ultra rares and the rare attacks, are to die for. I mean, there's some attacks in this set that I just absolutely fap over all day long. Now, there's some honourable mentions before I go straight into my top 5, and apart from one, they're all ultra rare attacks, which is part of the reason they're honourable mentions and not straight up in the top 5. I think they're very good, but not everyone's going to be able to get them. And those four are Senpubu, which is one of Hisenko's attacks. Now, I think this card, if you're looking to build a budget Felicia deck, this card is a must-have. It's like you're attacking with a foundation at that point. Felicia allows for your attacks to go into your momentum whether they hit or not. And the numbers on this are really solid. Like, 6 damage is nothing to be sniffed at. It doesn't have a block, which is a bit iffy, but you can't have everything at the end of the day. And it's just really good. There's not really much else you can say about it. Nero Fatica is one of them, and it's one of the cheaper ultra rares in the set, which surprises me, because I think it's really strong. Any reversal that can deal 6 damage off zone for 4 difficulty, because if it's a reversal, there's a card in your opponent's card pools for its difficulty to go down, and it has targeted removal on it. Now, targeted removal is a big deal right now. Ever Hopeful is one of those foundations that everyone's either crying about or lauding, and I think it's amazing. I mean, I think the card is really well needed, because I'd much rather play against some removal than watching my opponent stall for half an hour and then making me wait to just eventually do something. It's boring. And Nero Fatica kind of plays along the same lines as that, and I really like that. Dancing Flash. Everyone seems to really love this card, and it's really good, but it's 3 momentum. 3 momentum's kind of necessary for a multiple 1 attack. Now, it's quite cool as a disruption card, but as a kill condition, I can think of better cards. However, saying that, the disruption is really potent. If you stick it with Ever Hopeful, you're board wiping your opponent. However, I can think of other cards that do similar things that I just prefer, because they deal more damage and they do it across multiple 2s, things like that. But we'll come to that. And the last one is Demon Billion. Demon Billion's just another one like Senpubu. It's just extremely solid. Your opponent wants to block this card. You know, it's the top bit where if you've gained health it gets -1 difficulty is nice, but it's not often going to go off. If you're playing Dimitri and you're not flipping your opponent's foundations, it means your opponent has no threats anyway. And if you're playing Mai, well, I mean, Mai's still pretty good, so it could be worthwhile in her. But the flip 2 cards day face down is just solid, you know. But moving on swiftly and going into our top 5, my number 5 pick for this set is Cat Spike, which is heavily endorsed by my kitten Cammy, and you know she loves it. But Felicia is vicious. You know, in this set, all of her stuff is vicious. But this card in particular opens up combo potential for so many things. For example, Ever Hopeful is, like, again, this card that everyone's going on about, and for a good reason. It means you don't have to spend momentum doing it. If you are Felicia, you may not want to, because you might need to have the second momentum free to give her speed boosts. It can also surprise your opponent with a second unique foundation. Now, the sort of things that go over in my head is play Cat Spike, activate Prototype for +3 speed, +6 damage, and then Felicia on it. So for another +3. So that's +6/+6, making it a high 10 for 11. That's a stinger. And then you go, okay, it hit. Great. Play a second Prototype and then play something else after it, and now you've got 2 coming at you with +6 speed, +6 damage. That's vicious. You know, there's no other word for that. So this card just allows for such exceptional aggressive plays that I just love it. I think it's great. My number 4 number in this one is another one from the starter decks, which is Moment Slice, one of Talbane's cards. The primary reason for this is because I think it's just an extremely powerful attack for any 7-hand character. Now, the format of like your walling and everything I think has passed now, and I think that, you know, hyper aggro is the way forward, or heavy control. And if you can survive your 3rd turn and you want to play control, then you're on the right track. And I think that this card actually helps with that, because it can be played to tap your opponent's cards down. And targeted removal, just good. Just do it. It can be played after Cougar, which is one of Yuri's attacks from the first King of Fighters set, to tap one of your opponent's cards. Probably not going to block that. So then you can play this straight after it and tap another one, and both of them can tap your opponent's character, which is an extremely powerful effect. It's also very fast for its difficulty as well. Mid 5 is nothing to be sniffed at. And that, moves us on to one of Talbane's other cards in the number 3 slot, which is Dragon Cannon, which is his ultra rare attack. When the set was previewed, I had to have this card. This card was just amazing. I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. However, while it's still extremely good, I've yet to find a proper home for it. I think there are some characters that are considerably more powerful with this card, Ringman being my favourite example, and you can just do scary things with this card. It can insta-kill anybody as long as they're on half health. You have to deal with this card. You have no choice. You either have to spend all your resources reducing its damage, block it, which means your opponent gets free cards, and against the walling characters, the high health characters, you stare down a Goro, and because if he's at maximum desperation, which I believe is 17, the card goes to 18 damage, which even after Goro's reduced it by 1 will still kill him. Yeah, and that's a scary thing for a character like that. You don't expect an attack to be flying at you quite that hard. So I think that card's extremely good. However, it is starting to go down a peg because of 2 other cards that I've seen. The second one being Rolling Uppercut. I've spoken to a lot of people who said that this card is bad and they need their head checked. This card is crazy. It's the first example of a powerful attack I'd actually play. Powerful is a very difficult mechanic to make work. You have to spend too much resources making it actually damaging. Whereas this is something you stick on the end of an attack string and your opponent can't deal with it because it's too fast. Because 4 difficulty, 4 speed, off zone on a 3 difficulty attack is just good. There's just no two ways about it. I wouldn't play it in a non-air deck. Excuse me, words. And the reason for that is because I think Powerful 2 isn't quite enough for the card to be good. Powerful 3, however, if you're playing Felicia again, or Gemini Man, or anyone with a consistent damage bonus, it's gonna slaughter your opponent if they don't see it coming. Which, if everyone thinks it's bad, they're not gonna see it coming. So I'd highly recommend Rolling Uppercut. Really fantastic card. My number 1 pick, however, and this blew me away. I was completely stunned by how much potential is in this card. And my favourite card in the whole set is Finale Rosso. The numbers on this card are just fantastic. Yes, it's a 2-check, but it has a block. It's 4 difficulty. It's mid 4 for 4, which aligns nicely with its difficulty, and it's multiple 2. So that's 12 damage from a 4 difficulty attack. That's nuts. And the combos you can do with this thing are crazy. Nivos is a extremely powerful attack that happens to have a high block and combos into Finale Rosso. So if you spend all your resources blocking that, you get to deal with the Finale Rosso that comes after it. Now, what's even worse than that is if you play a card called Cunning and Prideful, which is one of Ash's common foundations, which I've horrendously overlooked until now, which you flip face down and you add any face down card in your card pool back to your hand. So, for example, I play Nivos. Now, you've spent loads of resources stopping the Nivos. Play Finale Rosso. Combos off of Nivos, so you can use it to pay for its own multiple, which is ridiculous anyway. So that's pretty stupid before we've even finished the combo. You remove your Nivos from the game and put it straight into your momentum using the other enhance on Finale Rosso. Then you pay for the multiple with it. Then if you've got multiple 2, fantastic, even better. If it's just the multiple 1, that's not a problem, because what you can do is you can put the Nivos into your card pool, then you can use Cunning and Prideful to pick it up and then play it again. So you can read Finale Rosso as pick up a card in your card pool and play it again. It's like, that's vile on an attack that's that powerful anyway. I mean, this is completely not factoring in the character it's meant for. In Jida, the card is just like Hurricane Upper, but better. And Hurricane Upper's pretty amazing. You can combo for days. You can pick up cards from your discard pile. You could pick up 4 Finale Rosso in a row, depending on how many Cunning and Pridefuls you have. And all the while ditching your opponent's or filling up your opponent's card pool with their foundations. It's like Jida is like probably the most underrated character in this set. On the back of this card just makes him ridiculous. So please, for the love of God, if you're going to play Jida, pick up 4 Finale Rosso first, because it's just that good. And that brings us to the end of my top 5. If you like what you see, or if you disagree with anything that I've said, because there might be some bits that I've missed. I mean, I haven't put Saranagiri in this list, and there's a reason for that. So if you want to know why, then leave us a comment. And then just subscribe, and make sure that you keep your winning in check, and make sure you're always wanting it. So I'll see you guys later. Very powerful, very quickly. It's just extremely powerful. The block on it is fantastic. It makes Pharaoh Man. Because on the ability for drawing cards, if you haven't already used the other